Alrighty. Well, welcome to Romerica's virtual cast. Today we have on.
Bartholomew Jones.
Awesome, man. So, I saw your stuff on Instagram for your black coffee and
Yeah.
saw you do music, and I was like, all right, this is a guy to talk to.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
I guess first let's talk about the coffee. So,
hmm
what is what is the origin of all that stuff, man?
well, the origin of coffee is in Ethiopia, actually. Not sure if that's what you were asking, but that's where coffee comes from.
Your
Yeah,
coffee.
I got into coffee, like a lot of kids in the black community, it's kind of like a rite of passage. Like you want to be grown enough to get, a little sip from grandma's cup or from your dad's cup or mom's cup. So when I was like, 10, 11, they let me take a little sip. I didn't like it. So I started putting tons of creamer and sugar in it. I was like a junior. Yeah, I was a junior deacon at our church. So like we would be sitting right next to where the coffee machine was while everybody was like doing service or whatever. I used to like pour heaps of like the little powdery creamer and sugar into
Man.
my coffee. And that was kind of my first introduction to coffee when I was a teenager. My dad started introducing me to like Kenyan coffee. And so he had been to Kenya when he was in college, and then got introduced to on like a study abroad thing, and got introduced to Kenyan tea in college. And then one of his friends from California introduced him to Kenyan coffee. So it's like a little connection that we had. Him getting me to try it again. I did not like it black. It was gross to me. It was from Starbucks. I was like, this is nasty. But I did like Frappuccinos. So I would drink them Johns. And then from there, man, just went to college. Like most people, you got to do all-nighters, tons of coffee. I found out I'm lactose intolerant. I mean, I feel like most black people kind of know you're lactose intolerant, but you do it anyway. Like you kind of like you kind of do the milk and sugar anyway. And like all nighters though, bro, like milk and creamer and all that stuff on multiple nights of no sleep and trying to get work done. It's a different scenario. So I had to start cutting it out. And when I did that, I realized, like, when I would drink coffee from various places late at night, like some coffee would taste better than others or be more bearable than others. And so that kind of led me down this little rabbit hole. I'm a nerd at heart. So, like, I've been into comic books, anime. Before it was cool. I'm slick mad. It's cool to be into anime now. I was like, I used to have to, like, try not to get jumped. Like, I used to have to, like, hide my Yu Yu Hakusho interest. Um, and now it's cool. Like that's me and my homies used to get made fun of for like running around with our arms behind our backs, and now people make memes out of it. So yeah, man, I'm always interested. I've always been like a scholar as far as school is concerned. So I'm just into learning, and I'm very curious. And so and I was a teacher. So I went to school for education, for like education reform. That was kind of my way to like try to contribute to helping my neighborhood. I grew up in Memphis, so like I taught in Memphis and like the city here for like 10 years, and I really wanted to create change. And I got kind of frustrated, bro. Like I was an artist and trying to promote the arts in school, and I was drinking tons of coffee. And as I learned about the African history of coffee, I was teaching my kids, and just got frustrated because like schools, I love education, but I kind of realized I slick hate schools.
Mm.
And like the last straw for me was like we started this performing arts school in the neighborhood my dad grew up in South Memphis. My dad played trumpet at Overton, and like he had to get bused to go to a school that he felt like could really push him, like I don't know if you're from Memphis or not, but yeah, so like South Memphis has a very well-known Booker T. Washington's very well-known school. Like Maurice White from Earth, Wind and Fire went there. All my uncles went there. So it's a great school, great music program. But my dad was like, man, I feel like I'll have a better opportunity. So he felt like he had to leave his neighborhood to get an opportunity and get bused. And, this is the beginning of the integration. So it's a pretty traumatic experience if you've read all the stories from all those first couple kids who were integrating schools. Like it was really rough. And so like he had to go through that in order just to pursue what he felt like was the best chance for his artistic talent. And so we started the school because like kids shouldn't have to leave their neighborhood to like pursue their arts, or they shouldn't have to go on like a 40-minute bus ride or whatever to try to learn and pursue the arts. Like that should be an opportunity everybody gets. And so we started the school, but it was a great school, amazing, probably the best. I was basically a rap teacher, like that. It was really dope. But man, like we couldn't get the funding we needed to keep the school open. And so it closed in like the middle of the year, right before COVID hit. I didn't have a job. I'm a person of faith. I follow Yahweh. And so I pray, what I should do, talk to my wife. I got a wife and 2 kids. My wife's Renata Henderson, and then Maurice and Freeman are my children. We got one on the way. And I was like God was like, just go for it. So I was like, okay. So we went all in on this kind of coffee concept we had been playing around with, and figured we would pursue education in our community that way and be able to make a profit instead of depending on government funds or like donations from some donor who says they want to help your neighborhood. Like, we figured we would do it ourselves, and it's been working out pretty well, man.
That's awesome. I mean, so what was something that you felt like you were going to get out of the coffee? Like being able to share. I mean, you started off with, "Hey, coffee's from Ethiopia." You're
Yep.
obviously an educator, as you said. So, what was something that you really wanted to, I guess, give to people as far as like that coffee education?
Yeah, our big thing, man, is just educated. Like, I was an English teacher. I would always help facilitate the Black History program at school. So like Black History is really important. Mentor a lot of kids. My wife and I intentionally moved into like this neighborhood in North Memphis to like mentor kids here. We intentionally didn't buy a house in the suburbs so we could like continue to be a resource for our community and for our city. So like, we're like, man, education, I've always found that connecting people to their history and to like, the positive things that their ancestors have been able to accomplish instills a sense of pride. And then that pride can then be facilitated to like encourage people to push through difficult situations they're in right now. And so like, we always focused on that, but I never heard about coffee as a part of Black history. And once I became a coffee nerd, I was like, yo, this was discovered by Black people in Africa. Is grown by Black people all over the world. It's a $200 billion industry, which means if I'm going to push my students or youth in my community toward an industry, like, why not this one? It's the second most profitable industry or most traded commodity after oil, which is crazy. And so like, I was like, yo, I want people to feel a sense of pride in knowing, man, this thing that's like drank all over the world, like, yo, people from where you come from discovered this. And then 2, the industry is huge and there's a lot of opportunities to grow if we build our own spaces and build our own businesses. So like, why not you? And so, there's a certain level of education you need to find out about coffee, to grow your palate, all of that stuff. And we kind of build it all with hip hop as the foundation for reimagining coffee, like the Black future of coffee, after we kind of educate people about the Black history of it.
Do you feel like I guess coffee can be flooded, like the coffee industry can be flooded? Because I feel like every time I turn around, there's somebody's got a coffee shop or trying to do something.
Yep. Yeah,
So
coffee, bro. Like, this is the crazy thing is like, so many people in our community already understand the basic business principles of coffee, which is import a product from overseas, cook that product in your house, weigh it up, bag it up, and sell it to people who are addicted to it. So like, that business model is already like in our community. The issue is no one has really introduced the legal version of like drugs right now, which is coffee. Like, it's legal. People can't function without it. It's like a part of our heritage. Like, why not? I was listening to Dr. Claude Anderson speak on the Breakfast Club, and he was saying like, people want to do this whole like in June or whatever, when we lost George Floyd, everybody was like, support Black businesses. But the reality is, like, from a system standpoint, we're not really educating people to start businesses. We're educating people to get jobs. And what we really need to push, like, people who are in poverty, like, less so to like get a job and more so, hey, start a business. Like, I started a business on my phone, selling coffee in January, and then by November we had made 6 figures. So it's like, and I'm not a business person. I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I'm an independent rapper. I'm an educator. I'm a nerd, but I'm not like, I didn't go to school for business. Like, I didn't hire a business consultant. It was just us taking the things I learned as an independent musician and as an educator and applying that to industry to be able to monetize on kind of us. Because for me, the music aspect, I know you all are a record label. So for us, like, the music aspect is the commercial for our product. And I think any independent artist, if you have any skill, think about how many kids can rap or sing or produce, whatever. Like, you take that skill set and apply it to an actual product and think about yourself as not just an artist, but a brand. Like, you have the ability through things like Shopify to, like, you get 14-day free trial. You sell one, $40 hoodie that you drop ship, and you pay for that first month's membership on Shopify. So like it's really easy to get into, it's accessible, and I'm really an advocate for pushing more people to go into that, because like traditional education, the arts traditionally, like we know that these career paths for like independent artists, specifically if you don't come from money, your parents don't have money to pay for a bunch, like it's rough. It's rough. Like our album just hit like 200,000 streams on Spotify, which is great, but that's like $400, dude. Like, who cares? Like, nobody, like, that's not feeding none of it. That's paying half an MLG&W bill. Like, that's not doing anything. So we have to have other means to monetize. And when we look at labels traditionally, that's honestly what labels do. They view the artist as a way to advertise products, which is why artists go for and get excited about licensing deals. When their song gets synced up to a product, they get a small little check. But hey, guess what? You know, independent artists, and this is kind of what I told myself, like, you know, and this comes from Master P's mentality, but like if they're willing to give me 3 million, that means I'm worth 30 million. So if someone's willing to pay you $100 in a free hoodie for syncing your song up to their commercial independent artists, like if you were to do the work to build your own brand and create your own products, you could make $1,000. You know what I mean? In that same time span, and you keep ownership over everything you do, as opposed to, you know, nothing wrong with a sync license, but I just think that we should take that mentality and apply it and see our music as really the commodity and the language that most of the world speaks. Like hip hop music is the most consumed form of music in the world. You know what I mean? And we're using hip hop music to sell coffee, but you don't have to be into coffee. You can view it as something else you're passionate about or connected to, and be able to monetize that and provide for yourself and provide jobs in our community.
Like, what do you think is lacking from that knowledge within I guess the music community for like independent artists? Because I mean, I see all
Go
the time
ahead.
people
You got
struggle with learning that, you know, that little extra step, you know, to take them to the next level as far as like their entrepreneur mindset. So what do you think is?
I would say there are two things that people need to understand, and one is e-commerce and two is digital marketing. And I think if you can understand e-commerce and digital marketing, bro, like you can do anything. Like we've been able to get like I think we have a 30.4x return on our ad spend right now on Facebook, which is basically free money, right? That's basically I can hustle it. Okay, assume I don't have a business. Assume like, you know, I didn't have 2 degrees and a job, whatever. Like, okay, I can go cut somebody's grass and get $10. Take that $10. If you can if you can build an ad dope enough and build a connection with people on social media, which everybody has anyway, that $10 on a 30x ad spend now just turned into $300. So then take that $300, pay for whatever you have to pay for your ad, and then reinvest. It's literally just selling dope. Like, but you're selling music and you're creating products to help with them, to help monetize on the movement. And I would say this is a gem for any artist. Like, please don't sell shirts with your name on it or with your record label on it or whatever. You need to connect something that like create something that connects to the humanity that people who don't know who you are will want to buy. So like the first one of those for us was a shirt that said "Make Coffee Black Again," and obviously that's a spin on 45. So I didn't do a ton of work creating this super, you know, I just took something that was funny to me. We did it and we sold tons of shirts. And then like I saw a friend post when George Floyd died, I saw one of my friends say, man, I wish people love Black people like they love Black culture. And so, you know, I'm in coffee. Coffee's obviously a Black discovery. So, you know, I just put up a post that said, love Black people like you love Black coffee. And it went like viral in the coffee community. And so I was like, okay, let's make a print. And we made the print. And then people were like, you know, and again, drop shipping, right? I just put the print on Printful. I didn't have to have any upfront money. They just, you know, took a cut to drop ship it. And people were like, we need the shirt. So then I made the shirt and we sold $60,000 in shirts, right? So it's like, and I made this on my phone, on the app, like on the Fonto app. It's free. You know what I mean? I'm not doing, it's just Helvetica New Bold. It's not super crazy. Like it's, you know, it's just having something to say and communicating that and really connecting on a human level, which honestly is what an artist do. Like even artists, if you're taking lyrics that are meaningful from your songs and figuring out a way to kind of make that look cool on the shirt, like people will connect to that. And like, if you market to 100 people and one person buys it, like that's great. Just keep finding 100 people every day and showing it to them and they'll connect to it eventually and you'll be able to build a brand.
So, do you think that there is any kind of, I guess, disconnect between people starting that next step and then continuing? Because I feel like a lot of people want to start, and then once they get started, they kind of drop off. That's why I feel like a lot of people
Mm.
don't succeed in life is because once they get started, if they don't see the that immediate success, they just kind of drop off. So what.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where for me it comes back to my faith, because what I'm doing is not about being successful. It's not about making money, even though we made money. It's not about streams, even though we've been able to get streams. Like I was doing this, I've been doing this for like 15 years, like in my community, helping people, like mentoring youth, not because there were cameras on, or it's just because I think it's the right thing to do. And it's what I feel like God has put me on the planet to do, and this is what people have done for me, and it's changed my life. And this is what people have done for my family for generations and in my family. So one is the family tradition, two is my faith in Yeshua, and then three, I feel like it's the right thing to do. So I'm just doing it. But I think if you have commitments because what people care about, right? People care that and I always forget this word. One of my mentors talks about it. But people care that you're congruent. Okay. And so if I'm talking about, for instance, if I'm like, blah, 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 love black people like you love black coffee, blah, 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 black empowerment, blah, 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 serve the black community, mentor, volunteer your time, blah, blah, blah. If I'm saying that, but then people look on my Instagram and like I'm at the pool kicking it, it's honeys everywhere. You know what I mean? Like they're like, isn't that dude married? Don't he got kids? Like, what is he talking about? Like, I'm like, getting off and like being a jerk to people and like making fun of poor people. I got this thing, you don't got this thing, blah. Yo, we made this much money, you broke, blah, blah. And you listen to my music and he's like, this dude's a jerk. Like, but he's over here talking about people wouldn't connect with it and they wouldn't believe us, right? So I think that for a lot of people, the reason why they don't continue is because they're doing something for a result instead of doing something for a purpose. Like I knew that making art and being a resource in my community was a part of my spiritual calling from God. As a young child, my mom knew that, like she prophesied over me, and like I just knew this is what I was supposed to do. So I was willing to die. You know what I mean? Like we would go to protests. I'm like, I might die. You know what I mean? We're like, we're gonna move in the hood. Why are we doing that? We got college degrees. We might die, but this is what we're supposed to do. Like we're gonna go teach. This sucks. Like we're breaking up gang fights, or the kids were honestly the coolest part. Like gang members were some of my favorite students. It was the adults that were annoying. You know what I mean? Because we would have a great class going on, and they'd be like, you have fixed standards. So anyway, I'm not gonna get into that, but like. I remember, bro, one time I had a group of 8th graders, some of them gang affiliated, some of them just kids in the hood trying to, get a better life. Some kids are in honors class. Some kids are just, just passionate. But I started a hip hop club at every school I was at. And all these kids are here. We're working on music after school. We're recording songs. We're freestyling. We're listening to different styles of beats. We're learning about the history of hip hop. And like, there was a scholarship that became available for middle school students who wanted to like get basically free studio time and sign to like this, not sign, but they were going to be a part of this EP. And so like, I was like, yo, this is an amazing opportunity. It's by like a really popping indie label in Memphis called Unapologetic. So I was like, yo, man, you know them? Okay, cool. Yeah, Neem is the man. So like, and Neem grew up in Orange Mound, and like Neem's super cool with me. So I know like I was like, yo, if y'all work hard and apply, like I'm pretty sure one of y'all is gonna get in. You know what I mean? And even if you don't get in, like you're gonna build that connection and you can apply next year. And like I remember I was trying to pull kids from lunchtime to go fill out scholarship applications in the 8th grade in Orange Mound, Memphis, Tennessee. And I got like so much flack from administration. They were like, no, you can't do that. They need to be in. I'm like, I'm going to feed. Like they want to fill out a scholarship application. You were just yelling at this kid because you wanted to suspend him. And now he wants to write an essay for fun. Like, come on, yo. Like, but that's the mentality. And so I feel like a lot of people they don't persevere because they're not doing something that they feel like is a part of their purpose. But for me, I wasn't doing that because like I'm this holy, righteous person, but because I know, one, what God has done through his son, Jesus, to transform my life. Two, what my parents have done to impact. And three, what educators and other community members have done in my life and sacrificed so that I could have an opportunity or a chance. So I'm like, I have to do this. This is a part of my life. You know what I mean? Like this is a part of my purpose. So I didn't really care about it working, but that means when I did meet an opportunity, I was 100% committed to that opportunity, regardless of the results. And I was gonna keep taking every opportunity. It's like, yo, I might suck at basketball, but if I always take the shot because I just love taking shots, I'm gonna make one. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna make it's just like impossible not to.
Yeah. They say, shooters keep shooting, and so
Yep. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But I feel like if you don't like basketball, don't shoot. Go find something as an artist that means enough to you and that connects to other people that you would do if you never got paid for it and if it never worked out. You just can't imagine a life where you're not doing this.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about creativity and music, and that's how I feel about. I became very passionate about coffee. Obviously, that's how I feel about my faith, my community, my family. So those are things I'm just like they're just a part of who I am.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I think that a lot of people are missing is somebody passionate like you behind them in their corner.
Yeah.
Because,
Yep. And I'm blessed, bro. Like I got a lot. Like I'm a black man who grew up with his dad in his life, and I don't take that for granted. Which is one of the reasons why I go so hard in the community, because everybody didn't get that. And I know, like, you don't get a choice about what your dad does. So I mentor, a lot of kids because I'm like, I want to be that in other people's life, obviously in my kids' life. And then like I've had a lot of mentors too, one of my mentors in college, I met him. He was the drummer in our gospel choir, which that's a long story about why, because I hated gospel music growing up, but like like I was a believer, but I just wasn't into gospel music. It was boring to me, and like I'm growing up in the middle of 3 6 Mafia and Yo Gotti, so I'm like, why would I but like being in a choir gave me a connection to black music that I think I am forever indebted for. But anyway, the drummer in there was a producer, and so was the guitarist, and the guitarist had actually produced for Twista a couple of times. So I'm in Chicago. I'm like, yo, this is dope. So like we're playing spades, and randomly they're like, yo, do you rap? I'm like, how can you tell I rap by how I play spades? But yes, I do rap. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the way I bid. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. But like, from that conversation and us being on tour, we were in the Caribbean in St. Martin, and I connected and we did some music. That music didn't go anywhere. It never came out. But I sent it to my friends, and I was already recording myself. But again, that goes back to passion. Like, bro, I would leave class, go eat dinner, work out, blah, blah, blah. Then when everybody went to sleep, there was this white guy in our dorm named Dirty. His name was, I can't remember his real name, but that was his rap name, was Dirty, like Dr. D. And so he was like big into like Asher Roth and Mac Miller and stuff. And so like he would he actually kind of reminds me of like Lil Dicky. But Lil Dicky wasn't out. But yeah, he was just super cool, and he would let me borrow his Mac. Like, so every night, bro, I would just like go to his door. He'd slide the Mac under the door, and I would go in the lobby and set up like a USB or like a Yeti USB mic, and I would record every night until like 4:15. And so none of that music ever came out. I just loved making music. It was something I needed in my life. And that discipline and that passion, I would say the passion came first, and the discipline was just a way for me to keep my passion. It started out with me and a bunch of friends. We called ourselves 415 because we wouldn't go to sleep until 4:15. And then, eventually a lot of my friends kind of moved away from it, but I was like, I love this. I'm going to keep doing it. And, we got little shows here and there, but to me, that was the passion. So I think if you're willing to take a risk and like really pursue your purpose, you can connect with people who are also purposeful. And so something about that, when I was on tour with the gospel choir, like they connected to, and they were like, yo, we see something, and I was a pretty shy guy at the time. Like I grew up really chubby, and like, of course you get made fun of all the time. And I was a nerd, and I was in the comic books, and like, I was like not a super outgoing person, the person that I am today, but music really helped me come into that. And the more I got into music, the more I felt comfortable with myself and comfortable with who I am and how I was made. And then like that helped me to connect with other people who were like that, who could mentor me and stuff. And so I feel like that was the only mentor where I've asked him, like, his name is Thomas Egler. He has a company called Sure Thing Studios. They're like a media production company. He produced like my first album. Well, he produced my first EP. And taught me how to produce, taught me how to really like get into singing more and stuff. So yeah, bro, he kind of changed my life, and I had to ask him to be my mentor, which was weird. It's like asking somebody on a date. There's no real way to ask. So I just randomly, like, he was driving me home from like rehearsal, and I was like, hey, so like we've been, getting to know each other for a while now. I think you're really cool. And I was wondering, if you don't, it's cool, no worries if you don't want to, but like I was wondering, would you mind maybe mentoring me sometime? And so it's a weird thing to do, but I think it's important, and that step really opened me up, to like him just opening up his whole creative space. I would just be over there all the time, bro, just making music. Again, most of that music didn't come out, but I was just making it because I loved it, and I was hyped. And all those things kind of led to me finding him and a couple other mentors like Ruslan, who owns an six-figure indie label out in California. And then Martin Mayorga, who's been my coffee mentor. He owns a company called Mayorga Organics. They're a multi-million-dollar company, so they're killing it. Shout out to all of them. But like those people kind of came to me as I started to like get more passionate, Like I feel like mentors kind of find you, or you find mentors as you start chasing what you're passionate about,
Yeah. I mean, why do you think, I mean, when I think of coffee, I don't really think of black people, you know what I mean? Just because like
Mm-hmm.
Starbucks is known for like the basic white girl, you know what I mean?
I
So
can tell you why that is too.
why is that?
Okay, so in 1616, actually, I'll read the back of our coffee bag. Okay,
All
here we
right.
go. Boom. So here we go. The coffee plant was stolen from Africa in 1616 by two Dutch spies. 3 years later, the first stolen bodies landed in Jamestown, Virginia. We're finding our liberation as a people, and now we are liberating our birthright. Birthright. This coffee is diaspora history, and it, like us, was created to be taken black. No sugar, no cream, the way God intended. This is not about diminishing your preference. This is about reclaiming our destiny. So in 1616, the Dutch stole, and this can get very nerdy very quick, so you just stop me. But in 1616, the Dutch, long story short, the Dutch were looking for things to trade because like the spice trade was a big thing at that time, right? And so like if you could own spices or own the people who were producing spices, then you really had access to like one of the biggest capitals. And so coffee was one of these things being produced by Africa and by a lot of the Muslim nations that like was gaining super hot fire all over the world. And like, the Dutch wanted access to the means of production. Lots of countries did, excuse me, sorry, Freudian slip. Lots of countries did. And unfortunately, like, not unfortunately, but like Africa was like, nah, fam. Like Ethiopia, Yemen, Sudan, these countries, like they were like, no, you can buy coffee from us, and we gonna make sure when you buy it, coffee's a seed, it's not a bean, that it's infertile. So I think they like put it through some type of hot gas process, so you couldn't plant the seed and grow it, because if someone else could grow it, they lose their monopoly over their discovery.
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, you can buy it from us wholesale, but you can't grow it in your own country. And so the Dutch stole it because they wanted access to that industry. And unfortunately, that process led to the beginning of coffee being used as a part of a lot of other cash crops, like so in Indonesia, in Haiti, in Jamaica, in Brazil. I mean, literally all over the world, coffee was planted and grown by African slaves and indigenous people. They were forced to grow that coffee. So the reason why you don't know about coffee as being a black thing is one of the reasons why our company exists and want to change. But the reason why you don't know is because from coffee being stolen in 1616 to now, most of the biggest companies that are doing like the production in this $200 billion industry are still Dutch and French companies, right? Who are the same companies who literally stole it in 1616. So the Dutch quickly gave it to the French after they colonized Indonesia and Sri Lanka. And the French then took it to colonize Haiti. And we know about the history of Haiti. And then they also colonized Brazil, which then got given over to the Portuguese. And so, and then, other countries in Central and South America as well. So those two countries kind of still own a lot of the infrastructure for import, export, and roasting, larger roasting companies. Like, I think one of the bigger companies like H&F Man. I have to look up, I think that's the name. They're a Dutch company, but yeah, bro. So like these companies they literally own they do all of the purchases of coffee and sales of coffee mostly around the world. So of course you don't think about black people because it's still colonized. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, think about, like, this is gonna happen to box braids in 20 years. Like, it's, people are gonna be like, oh, box braids, like, oh yeah, it's like a white girl thing. It's the Kardashians, right? It's
Yeah.
like, no, 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 no. But like, that's why it's important, one, for us to be a part of the industry so that we can tell that story. But I think two, more importantly to me, is less about the credit. And, you know, because right now the Oromo people who discovered coffee, they're the ethnic group in Ethiopia, like, they're currently being persecuted. They're one of the most persecuted people groups in Africa. Like, they're almost in the midst of a civil war right now in Ethiopia. And it's complex, obviously, ethnic conflict always is, but like, they're suffering, right? And they're the people who discovered this $200 billion thing, and they don't really have access to the funds that their discovery generates. And I can relate to that because I'm a hip hop artist, right? Like, how many stories about independent artists, independent hip hop artists have we heard who create a dance, or you create this sound and then it's stolen, and then it makes some big label or artist millions and millions of dollars, and you don't. So I'm like, yo, if I can use hip hop as a way to, like, bring more attention to this and to bring more ownership and encourage more people to take ownership, both in hip hop and entrepreneurship and also in coffee, like, I think that's a win-win for people all over the world. Like, and we've connected with people in Haiti, Trinidad, Colombia, the UK, Rwanda, Kenya, Burundi, like, all over the world. Oromo people, my brother Ibrahim in Ethiopia, who are like, yes, fam, this is our struggle. We want to have more ownership over this thing we produce. Like, our countries make it, but we don't keep very much of the money. Like, it goes to all these, like you said, larger companies who receive the capital and the credit. And, you know, both are important. I feel like the capital is more important, but yeah, I think the narrative and the story around coffee's got to change, just like a lot of other Black discoveries, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I think it takes us doing the work and persevering to kind of earn. Now, I don't want to say earn our stake, but I want to say you just have to, like, you ain't gonna get nothing you don't take, and that's just what it is. Like, if you don't go out and say, I mean, I think anybody who grew up in the hood knows this. Like, if you don't hold on to your stuff, that stuff gone, fam. It don't matter that it was yours. You get took.
Yeah.
And I think, like, we're at a point where we have the opportunity, specifically through e-commerce and digital marketing, to do that. You know, not just with coffee, but with music too.
So when you were talking about the Facebook ads and everything that you were doing with that and how it just generated that money,
Mhm.
what how did you learn all that?
Well, being an independent artist, to be honest with you, bro, like, you know, I spent tons of time, you know, doing, when I was in college, like, DIY stuff was really dope. And I grew up in the hood in Memphis. My parents were both college educated. So, like, you know, they definitely exposed me to some traditional academic opportunities. But when it comes to, like, types of jobs, I feel like it was pretty standard, like, you know, like teacher, preacher, fireman, doctor, lawyer vibes. You know what I mean? And so, like, a job in the arts, Memphis is 67% Black, and it's a blue collar town. Like, we mostly have factories and factory jobs. You know what I mean? And if you don't do a factory job, like I said, those other professions are, you know, I guess you could be a politician too. And so I was like, I don't want to do any of that. So I didn't really see a way to be an independent artist growing up. I didn't know anybody who was like, you know, I did know entrepreneurs, but I associated entrepreneurship with, I don't know, bro, like real estate. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't associate entrepreneurship with the arts. I didn't know any creative entrepreneurs.
Mm.
And so being able to go to college in a place like Wheaton, which is like one of the richest suburbs, you know, in that area, and then going to school with like a lot of art kids, and then leaving and meeting like people like Ruslan, and who's a creative entrepreneur. He built the 6-figure label out in California. Like, you know, meeting people who were able to do that really helped me to see what was possible. And that was why when I was a teacher, it was so important that I kept doing music. You know what I mean? Because my kids need to see people who are creative in non-traditional ways. Specifically in 2020, where the traditional jobs just don't, like, go to college, get a job, don't work no more. Not really. Unless you're hyper specialized, like you're going for something specific to tech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even doctors and lawyers right now, like, they're not getting a return on their investment. You know, you got doctors and lawyers who, if you don't start your own firm or your own practice, you know, like, you're kind of in debt for a very long time, you know, and it sucks. So, yeah, for me, man, like, those skills of like one, seeing creative. So I started getting into like stamps and like getting little cardboard CD covers and like finding a way to make a stamp of something and stamping my CD cover and feeling really like, Blipster, Cool Vibes, Coffee. So I was like, oh, this is dope. So I like stamp labels. And then I saw one of my friends do an art show, Shang Lin, one of the homies. He was a producer too. He was dope. So he did this art. He was an art major, and he did these hoodies and shirts. And he really did crew necks. And I was like, yo, how did you make those? He's like, oh, I screen print them. I was like, yo, what is screen printing? That's so dope. I didn't know what it was. Like, I was like, I never heard of that. I never heard of somebody who was a graphic designer. I didn't even know what graphic design was. You know what I mean? I was like, you mean you're an art major? He's like, no, I'm graphic design. Like, I'm like, what is that? Like, I didn't know what vectors and any of that. So like, I just nerded out, bro. Like iPhoneography. I was taking all these, like, I thought they were cool. They were pretty lame. Like all these like architecture pictures and getting these weird apps to edit stuff and like trying to just make art all the time. And that type of stuff and posting all the time and like trying to get like cool vibes on shirts and printing my own shirts and doing my own CDs. Like I got interested because it was artistically stimulating, but it also was products for me to sell. And I learned really early on, if you make a cool looking CD and a hoodie, you can sell way more music than yo fam, go download my mixtape, or hey, would you buy my single for $19.99? Yeah. And what fast forward to now, I'm this, like, I'm trying to be involved in my community. I'm a family man. I'm like, hey man, I'm a family man from Memphis, really care about the Black community. I'm a rapper. Would you consider purchasing my positive hip hop music for $19.99 or for $9.99? It's a no every time. Now flip it. Hey, what's up, man? I'm a family man, really care about the Black community. Would you consider purchasing my Black-owned coffee company's bag of coffee for $20? Bro, it was so many yeses. I was like, so y'all spend $20 on a bag of coffee and like $0 on any type of music. And this is because the market is super saturated. So I think another piece is like, you got to find markets where you will be able to have something unique to say, or you have an original thought in. And so I think when it comes to marketing online, like one, physical products matter. And I did a video on this on my YouTube. It's like how to double your sales on your independent music. It's like, you got to attach something physical, or if you have something digital out, attach something physical to it. If you have something physical out, attach something digital to it. And that's the thing you can do in Shopify. You can create digital attachments, but it automatically increases the value. And look, you're an independent artist. Probably if y'all primary audience, I'm assuming, is independent artists, right? So if you're listening to this, you're an independent artist, you're going to go make music anyway. And let's be honest, it's probably not going to sell. It's not. Even if you get 1 million streams, bro, like that's $4,000. Yeah. You can't do that with that. So you can't even pay for the laptop and your mic and like your bills off that. You know what I mean? So there's no point. Like, just give it away for free and make people pay for the merch. Or make a bundle, and bump the price $5 or $7 or whatever and say it's a bundle, but really you're just trying to get them to buy this physical thing. Or if you have a physical thing you've been selling and you kind of plateau, create a digital release, right? Make some new music and then attach that to that physical item now, and like your sales just go up. So I think for us, that was one thing, is finding physical items. Two, something that stands out in the market. So like, again, like you said, people don't think about Black people when they think about coffee, which upset me and made me want to say something. But from a business standpoint, also, like, it's good marketing, right? Like, because it's unique. It's a purple cow. So if you read the book about the purple cow, I can't remember the name of the author, but he was like, yo, if you drive down a field in Iowa, you see, a purple cow, what you gonna do?
You'll stop.
Get out and look at it, and then call people, and then take pictures and say, what in the world is that? Yeah. Like, and I don't know how long that purple cow has to stand there in a random field before somebody sees it, but that's not really important. The point is, be there so somebody eventually will see you, and then they can connect with it if that's something they think is interesting.
Yeah. So, but what is that about people and the purchasing of music? Because I was actually realizing, I made a post on Instagram a while back about how I want to start buying, I know a lot of people who do music. So I was like, I've never bought music in my entire life.
Come on, bro. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm 29, bro. Like 2010 and back, I was buying, bro. I'm like, support independent artists. I'm buying. Even when I first got Spotify, I was like, downloading all these records, but I'm gonna go buy it still. The ones I really like, I'm gonna go buy it. Now I don't buy music, bro. It just is what it is. Unless you got a vinyl. You got vinyls, I buy your vinyl because I think vinyls are cool. But again, that goes back to physical products, right? Novelty, purple cows. Like nobody has vinyls. I think vinyls are dope. I'm a collector. I'm gonna buy one. You got a tape, a cassette tape. Oh, that's cool. I'm buying that. You know what I mean? But like, cause I want that anyway. But I'm like, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry. They're just my favorite artist. My best friends. I'm just not. Like, you make a shirt, I buy the shirt. If it's a cool shirt, if it's shirt like, yo, Lil Daryl is the best rapper, I'm not buying that shirt. I'm sorry. But
yeah, I made a post just telling everybody like I'm gonna start buying my friends' music because you know I want to support them and show them and literally show them I'm supporting them. So
yeah, bro.
But the funny thing is when I went to go do it, I was like, how do I do this? Because
yeah, bro. Where do you go buy it at?
Exactly.
Like, they shut down the Apple store. You can't buy it on Spotify. You got to go get Google Play, bro. You got to go download Google Play to make a purchase.
And Amazon. Those were the two places that they were actually kind of easy. But that was it. Like I actually didn't know how to do it.
And still, that's weird. Like, why? Like, I gotta go download a new app that I haven't downloaded that I'm only gonna use for this, and then all my other music I'm still streaming it on whatever I'm YouTube. Worst case scenario, YouTube, you know, or Spotify, whatever. So then it's like, does that music even really get played? Because I have to go to a different app to listen to it than I listen to the rest of my music. You know,
and I think on the Google store.
Yep,
they just shut down. So now, like, Amazon's like the one place to buy music.
Yeah, bro. Which I think is a great way again for them to be a purple cow. And if I was on their board, I would be marketing the heck out of that and like trying to basically market it like Bandcamp markets their stuff. But you know, we're the home for independent ownership, like whatever. I'm not doing a consultation call with them, so I'm not going to. But again, that's one of those things I can't help it. Like, I give away free ideas when I really should be charging people for a consultation because I like being creative. It's just a part of the lifestyle I want to live. Like, I want to be a creative person for the rest of my life. I want to like give effort to my community and love God and love my neighbor and my family for the rest of my life. Like, I can't imagine a life where like I have an idea and I don't get to share it with somebody, you know, especially one that can help. So
yeah, there was somebody I was listening to and they were saying, you know, give away like all your information, but when you do that, people are going to realize how much information you have and they're going to want more, and then that's what you make them pay for, and then charge them a ridiculous amount at that point because they're going to want it. If they see how much info you have and they love it that much, they're going to pay whatever you charge because you hook them in with all that free stuff, and then they're like, I gotta have more. You know, it's like a crackhead at that point. You can just pick
like, bro, we said this 3 times in this podcast. It's like selling dope. So you know, that's the model of that's you don't walk away from anything else. Like selling dope is how you become successful as a rapper. And I feel like that's not new information, right? Like, we know that's how you become successful as a rapper. You sell dope. Just what kind of dope you sell has changed over time, but you gotta have another product, right? Like,
yeah,
gangster rap taught us this. You need a product. Even in the genesis of hip hop, the people fronting all the equipment and studio time were drug dealers. You know what I mean? Like, there were people who had money in the community, and so obviously we know this is, you know, I think the drug reform is on the way. I don't think that's going to change for crack, but I do think people are changing the penalties and stuff like that. Even, you know, Obama changed the laws from, like, I think it was like 100 to 1 for crack versus cocaine. He changed it like to 19 to 1. And then Donald Trump, even if it's a bipartisan issue, Donald Trump has been doing a lot of stuff on prison reform. So, like, I think most people realize, like, the way the war on drugs went was bad. But nonetheless, like, there's other industries that people who are musicians can enter or participate in to, like, and where their music is valuable, bro. Like, your music has value beyond streams or buying it. Like, that's probably the most basic and non-profitable version of your music, unless you're doing 10 million to 100 million streams a month. If you're doing that, okay, cool. Yeah, 4,000 times 10, that's 40,000. So 10 million, then that's every month. And then, of course, if you're doing that on Spotify, your numbers are good other places. That's good passive income. But, I mean, for most, like, I've been doing music. I released my first record in, like, 2014 or 13 or something. So, like, I just got a project that hit 200K. And we dropped that in, like, April. So, like, that was me being in music for that long just to make $400 off one project, or $800, however much we made off that one project. So, like, it's not if you're gonna really just, I'm just gonna make music and I'm a real artist and people should just support my music and one day I'm gonna get 10 million streams. I'm like, and honestly, a part of those two, like, this is not realistic. Like, you're gonna be 60 years old, if you stay consistent, and then you're 60 years old and still rapping. What is that? So like, but a big part of us even getting that, bro, was increasing our market, right? And marketing globally. One, we have a huge market in Brazil. Shout out to all my Brazilian family. You know what I mean? And then two, it was being able to build a brand so people had an experience for the music to fit in. I was creating music for people to drink coffee to, for people to wake up to, go on a drive. And like, I'm creating clothes for them to wear. And it's a whole sensory thing. We got the coffee, you can smell it, you can taste it. You got the clothes, you can feel it on your skin, you can wear it. You got the music, you can listen to it, you can sing it, you can say it. So like, it's a whole sensory experience that once people kind of get into the brand, they can kind of basically funnel down into all these other different ways to continue to experience the brand. And that works for coffee. But again, these things can work. I got one of my mentors, Ruslan. I'm like, yo, bro, you drink these yerba mate teas. He's a big health guy. That's why he got me drinking this, giant water bottle, trying to get a gallon in today. But like, he's like, he drinks yerba mate all the time. I'm like, fam, maybe consider partnering with a yerba mate brand and doing a drop ship or a licensing deal with them and like creating, drinks that people who support you. And he just got like 25K on YouTube too, so he's doing great. Shout out to Ruslan. But like, yeah, bro, and on that note of giving things away, I joined Ruslan's community. He has a Patreon community, and I joined it 2 years ago, and I started submitting music to get it reviewed. He was like one of my favorite indie artists. He runs this boutique label in like San Diego or San Francisco, one of them stands. And so I was like, yo, he's gonna listen to my music. It's crazy. And he actually liked my music. And so I kept submitting stuff, and like, then I kind of fell off because of what I do. Teaching is just a whole thing. It's very overwhelming. And I got back into it, and he was with us. Like, we do weekly Zoom calls. He sent me his phone number. So like, he's been with me giving away not free information, but like, I was paying maybe $5 to get my songs reviewed by one of my favorite indie rappers. Like, that was crazy. And then I got to talk to him and like build with him. He even like gave me a feature for free. Like, so he was giving all this stuff away for free, right? And I didn't sign up to get signed or anything. I just signed up because I was like, this is an opportunity to kind of get feedback, and I think he's gonna like this music, and that means something to me because, again, I just want to live a creative lifestyle. Like, which is something I would say, like, if you're an artist, just think about what kind of lifestyle you want to live, not based on like how much money you making, but like what experiences do you want to continue to have. And I think you should build your brand around something that facilitates that. So like, coffee is kind of the nexus of all things for me. But anyway, so yeah, bro, I was paying $5, bro. When I made my first $4,000 a month in our company, I like went from $5 to like $12. And the thing about Patreon is like, you can't get those $5 slots back because they don't add more. Like, they fill up quick, and then those are kind of lifetime things. So like, I was like, I don't care. This dude's helping me make money, bro. When I made my first 100K, I was like, oh, dude, what's the max? I'm maxing out. I'm paying you 20, 30, $40 a month just because you're adding so much value. You're literally helping me, talking me through what heat press to buy, where to get wholesale apparel, where to get prints, how to set up my Shopify store. No, dude, don't drop ship. You can do, you can make your own products. Just do a pre-order. Like the shirt that went viral, which is this one, we got the long sleeves out now, but at the time it was just short sleeves. And like, bro, like, I was about to drop ship that. I would have lost. We sold like 3,000 shirts, 2,000 shirts. So whatever 2,000 times like 7 is, that's how much money I would have just gave away, bro, instead of us making it here at our house. And like, he just really encouraged me, do pre-orders, get the money up front. And that's another thing I would say. If you're an artist, this is a hack. You can go on, this is technical, and I don't have a share screen, but just people who care will listen to people who don't won't, right? So go on Shopify, sign up for free, add the Printful app. Once you get the Printful app, make a product. You can upload any type of background, any type of thing you want. In fact, you can even type something on there if you don't know how to use the Fonto app. But I think so. You make a design on your phone, just some words. Like, if my name was Lil Daryl, I would be like, ain't nothing little about me. That would be my shirt, right? So it doesn't say Lil Daryl, but if you see me wearing it and you know I'm Lil Daryl, it makes sense. But it's kind of funny, people will wear it, whatever. So I make that shirt, I type it up in some easy font, like I don't know, Times New Roman or vinegar or something like that. And then I go to a website called Lunapic. You can remove the background. So now it's transparent. I upload it to Printful. On Printful, I go through all the steps to pick my product, my like the whatever shirt I want or hat I want, and then go all the way to add it to my store, and then click on it in my store and download the little picture. And that little picture is the money that you use to say, hey, I'm dropping a new product. You post it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We need 20 pre-orders to make this work. I'll drop ship it if we don't get it and refund people. But I really think we can do this. This is a super important message. We all need to know that we have a big purpose and no, we can't let anybody lull us. And so that's what you do. And you're going to get 20. Like if you have to talk like you, I don't see how you wouldn't get 20 pre-orders for that. I don't know. Like people like, if you know 1,000 people, 20 people will definitely support that, you know, especially if you've never released a product before, people know you've been making music. So then you take all that money that they gave you and delete that product that you had on Printful. I skipped a step. One of the steps was you need to make another product on Shopify that's not connected to Printful. So people can just buy it and then you'll fulfill it on your own time. But yeah, so then you'll take all that money and just you can go to Walmart, get black shirts. You can go get sweaters, whatever you want from Walmart or Target or wherever you go to get shirts. If you don't want to do an online thing, then go to a website called FM Expressions, buy, the prints, and then get a $200 heat press, which if you got $220 shirts or $2,200 shirts, $20 shirts, then you have $400. So you have $400. You can spend $200 on your heat press from Amazon. You can spend $50 or $30 on your prints and go to Walmart and get shirts for like $3 and print those up real quick. And you still keep like $100 and then take that $100 and make some more shirts. It's not hard. Like it's not hard. Anybody can do it. I just think we have to see ourselves, as we would say, past the sugar and cream, past what people want you to do or what's the thing you're supposed to do. Like, when we make coffee, the funniest thing about people they automatically put sugar in it. They don't even taste it. You just saw me pull out this weird kettle and pour into this looking thing and like weigh everything. And I just did all that work. And you're like, all right, where's the sugar and cream? Like, do you want to taste it first? You don't know what's in this cup, but you're going to do what you're supposed to do because we've been programmed. Yes. So like, that's how it is with musicians, bro. Especially rappers, we've been programmed. The only thing that makes you valuable is a cosign. The only thing that makes you valuable is a deal. The only thing that makes you valuable is a chain. The only thing that makes you valuable is a bunch of girls around you. The only thing that makes you valuable, if you're a girl, a bunch of guys around you, whatever your lifestyle is, this is the only thing that makes you valuable. When in reality, your ideas have value. Your purpose has value. What you have to say, who you are matters. And that, I think that comes from God. But even if you don't believe in God, like this idea is still true. You have purpose and worth outside of what anybody else thinks. So if you leverage that in the marketplace, your inherent purpose can be translated, your inherent worth and value can be translated into economic worth and value through products that communicate the same value that you have in the things you believe. And that's what people connect to, and you can do that every month, and after a while, your friends and family probably won't buy it. But then that's where digital marketing comes in, because people are going to post themselves wearing the shirt and they're going to tag you and you're going to repost it. You're going to make a new Instagram page that's just for that product. And then you're going to get people who follow you who don't even know you. And you're going to put it on TikTok, and people go viral on TikTok in like 2 days now. Yeah. So like, it's so many things you can do. And if you have a way to monetize your value and your worth, like you just have a greater opportunity to put out, your music too,
What's some of the questions that like the kids will ask you as far as like this kind of stuff, business stuff?
Yeah, man. I think they would just be like, how you make 6 figures? Like that's, yeah, and I want to give you that information. That's why I told, like, if I don't want to know, if I don't want people to know, I don't have the 6 figures. It's gone. It's in my company now. I reinvested everything. But again, that's because I didn't really care about the money. I was like, I want to reinvest in this because I like doing this. This is something I enjoy. It's meaningful to me. I think it's my purpose. It's what God wants me to do. So I'm going to invest in it. But like I was going to say, Yeah, bro. Kids primarily want to know about like, or they'll see me work with like a rapper that Propaganda, who's like another independent artist, like just put out a new video or visual with another group that's
You've been
pretty.
saying a lot of names. I've got to check these people out.
They're
I'm
dope, bro.
unapologetic. I've been trying to get I make mad beats on. I'm trying to get him in person on the podcast, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
that dude's a super villain, bro. He's a mystery, bro. You gotta have
He
like a
reminds me of
joke.
MF Doom.
Yeah, bro. You gotta have like a superhero or a supervillain trap, like a little hole in the ground and some stuff and an NPC on top of it or something. Like, yeah, bro. Yeah, we were just talking yesterday. Like, he's just I really look up to that dude, bro. Like, and I love his mentality. So excited about everything they're doing in the city, and I love that they're doing things again with a purpose and with a reason behind it. And I think that's why people connect to it, even though I'm a person of faith, they're not necessarily like people connect to purpose.
Mhm.
That's what it is. Like even in when you see the wildest, I don't know, Lil Punk video or whatever, people connect to it because he believes in what he's doing so much that people feel like, well, I believe it too. Like he believes in the lifestyle he's living. And I think that's what people connect to. So yeah, bro, the kids, a lot of times they'll want to know about the money. Or honestly, like one of my mentees, bro, like he doesn't really care about the music, bro. Like he cares about how can I make money? Like how can I get a job? So like he bags up coffee with us. He makes shirts for us and I pay him to make shirts. I pay him for every shirt he makes. Like I was like, hey, I'll pay you hourly or I'll pay you commission. Which one you want? And that was part of teaching. Like, you want the commission, bro. Even if you're making 20 cents a shirt or 10 cents a shirt, you control how much money you make with commission. Hourly, and I know me, I'm going to get better work out of somebody who's working for commission than somebody who's working hourly. Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to pay you. I think I paid them like 40 cents, 50 cents a shirt or something. Like it's too much. But like, they'll be like, boom, we just knocked out 300 shirts. And it's like, okay, boom. Here's like, I don't know, $75 or however much. More than they would like, even though it only took them an hour, I really don't care how long it takes you. And that's an entrepreneurial concept. I want to be as far away from trading time for money as possible. I want you to pay me for my ideas. So I don't care if it took me 5 minutes to do a consultation with you. If that took me 10 years to figure out how to do that thing that I explained to you in 5 minutes, and you're going to make $50,000, then just pay my consultation fee. And if you don't want to, that's fine. But don't talk to me about how much. If you want me to design something or do a label or like do a verse or a hook, like don't ask me how long it took. It doesn't matter. Is it good or not? That's what matters. If it took me 3 days, because if that's the case, if you want to pay me hourly, I'm going to just extend stuff.
Yeah.
Like the capitalist in me is just going to say, well, it took me 3 weeks to do this. Oh, I don't like that. Why not? I thought you wanted to pay for time. It's about how long it took, right? Well, that's just too much. You should be able to do it. So you want me to be an expert and an hourly worker? That's crazy. That's crazy. You either pay me to be an expert or you pay for inexperted work, whatever the word is. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that, but what he cares about, is money. And same thing with like a couple of other of my students. I've been trying to get them in the company for a minute, but it's hard to track them down. But he's, they're like, hey, we don't want to sell drugs. We want to work with you. We want to do something legal. We want to learn a skill. We want to be able to build our own businesses. And I think that's what people care about. It's not the money. It's just like, I want to be free. You know what I mean? And financial freedom is just really hard to find. And I think e-commerce and building your own brand is a great way to do it,
Absolutely. Something you were talking about made me think of this, but so I have a business management degree from Jacksonville State University back in Alabama. And then I did 10 months and I got a certificate from Full Sail for audio production. But now I'm going back to Full Sail to do an associate's in music business. But I said all that to say this. And
support the hustle, bro.
In one of our classes, one of the guys, he said, we were learning about entertainment business, and he said the definition of the entertainment business is the monetization of an emotional connection by making things different and better. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, that's a
great definition, bro.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal definition because he was talking about he was from Tampa Bay and he was a huge Buccaneers fan, and He said he was living in like Minnesota or something like that, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they played in the Super Bowl in like 2003 or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
when they played, he flew from like Minnesota or whatever down to San Diego to the Super Bowl. He actually said he flew to like Vegas and then
Mm.
drove from Vegas to San Diego just to watch that Super Bowl. And I was like, that's so crazy. He was like, yeah, I did that because I have an emotional connection to the Buccaneers. And he's like, that's how you get people's money is
Mm-hmm.
monetize something that they have an emotional connection to. And when you were
Yep.
talking about, so I actually have some shirts with just Romera records on them. I just put it on Teespring, and
Right.
so no
As
cost.
I started out using Teespring too.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
great, especially if you don't have a website. Like Teespring is dope. You can just put the link in your bio. It's dope.
absolutely. And so I was like, yeah, it's just something easy to just start out doing, just do it. And
Yep.
while you were talking about create something that people have, like a phrase, that you're talking about the little.
And an emotional connection, bro.
That's exactly it. That the coffee people have emotional connection to love black people like you love black coffee. It's
And you
not.
know what makes has made a difference? I really like we have designs that I like better than this, like that my wife has designed or stuff like that. But this one sells it outsells every other design we have, and it's just Helvetica New Boat. I made it on my phone, blah blah blah. Look, it's the first word is love, yo.
Mm,
And that's like even the shirt that says "Make Coffee Black Again." The connection is not people. If the first thing you see is "make," there's not the same emotional connection. That kind of feels foreign. It feels like someone's doing something to you. It feels like it has a negative connotation. But when you see the first word as "love," you're drawn in. And then the third word is "people." So loving and people is the thing any human being can connect to, like love and people. I get it. And then coffee, people get it. So that's kind of like the bottom end of the funnel. But I think like that emotional connection, even like thinking about that in the words you use, I didn't do like I just made the shirt because I connected to the other phrase.
mm,
You know what I mean? Love. Why don't people love black people like they love black culture?
yeah,
And I connected to that. But I think that's a big part of it too.
yeah. I mean, just thinking about all the things that you were talking about why you made your shirts and why you do the coffee you do, and that's even the history behind the coffee, having that on the bag, that could be emotional connection because people, if you're a black person and you have a real strong emotional connection to black history, then that right there,
Yep.
just being on the bag makes you want the coffee. Like, oh, this person
Bro,
history.
and I found is bipartisan because my conservative friends are like, "Oh yeah, make America great again." Like my black conservative friends, so they're like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of like an ode to Trump." I guess I'm really politically agnostic. Like I think both parties kind of suck, but
Yeah.
like they connect to it, and then they read the back, and a lot of like black conservatives are big fans of Black history, right? They're like, "Yeah, we've done so much, and we don't need to ask anybody, and we don't need handouts," and so they're like, "Yeah, this is great. We're gonna build our own businesses and." Entrepreneurship and capitalism and make America great again. They love it. And a lot of my conservative friends are like, yeah, make coffee black again. Like, yeah, man. And so it's like, and I like coffee and the other guy likes coffee. And then we're helping black farmers literally in Africa at the same time. So like, and by say helping, I think there's a whole kind of misnomer around how much selling coffee actually helps unless you're doing direct trade. But that's a coffee conversation for another time. But I do think that like, finding things again that just at the end of the day, like you can analyze it and like literally Shopify just posted us on their page, like Shopify, the Instagram account.
Mm.
And they were like, hey, this is like we want to highlight this black business as like one of like our favorite,
Oh,
sites.
wow, that's
It
awesome.
was crazy. It was dope. Yeah, super crazy, super dope. We just did this whole live about it. But I bring that up to say, like, I didn't know that was gonna happen when we started our business. I didn't know that was going to, I'm doing this because it matters to me. And I think if you can find something that matters to you and that you feel like you can commit your life to, then you can build products around that. And there are two ways to get an emotional connection, right? You can be fake. You can lie. You can be a jerk. You can run a 6ix9ine, gambit, be a troll. And people make money like off being trolls. That's just how people have an emotional connection. They just hate you or they think you're hilarious. But I think that's less sustainable than being sincere. It's not as quick as being a troll, right? Or being a jerk or kind of feeding into a lot of the vices of society. But I think being sincere and honest and having a bigger purpose in you for other people, I think connects. And just even if I didn't care about human beings at all, right? If I didn't care about my neighbor at all, just from a marketing standpoint, it's just more sustainable
Yeah.
because you get more positive. Like people post anytime somebody gets the bag, they're always going to post this. This is what I felt. We always get a repost. That repost and tag in the stories is always it's free marketing. You know what I mean? But like for instance, if we said like, yo, F colonizers on the back of the bag, like people wouldn't post that. I mean, some people would, but like, you know, like this is really just this is why at the end of the bag it says this is not about diminishing your preference. Drink your coffee how you want. Like this is just about us reclaiming something that we feel like we lost. And anybody can connect to that. And so that's kind of like for us. And maybe some people still don't like our brand, and that's cool. It's not for them. They can go drink Folgers. But like, I'm like, it's other coffee brands out there for you. But like, I think purpose matters, and connecting to your divine purpose is important when you're creating a product. Even if you're not a person of faith, just finding something meaningful. Like even if you Lil Daryl, like ain't nothing little about me. Like just find something that is positive, motivational for you to do. Even if your music isn't all the way positive. Like I've seen artists who aren't super positive, who have great apparel and people connect to it because it's a part of what they do. Like Killer Mike, his name is Killer Mike. Like if you listen to Killer Mike's music, it's not all gun. Even now, like, but I'm saying back in the day, bro, it's just like he was not like he was a Killer Mike. You know what I mean? But his brand is all around like, you know, ownership, entrepreneurship, history, education, like, you know, business, and he's just positive. Same thing. Rick Ross. Rick Ross is all about being a boss, owning your own stuff, self-improvement. Like people pick positive things because they're just easier to sell because everybody wants their life to be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so even if like, you know, Rick Ross came up pretending to be a drug dealer, you know, but that's not what he built his brand. He didn't like make products and try to brand that, right? Like that was a part of it. But the thing he focused on was, you know, like I'm a boss. You need to be a boss. We can all be bosses. Same thing with DJ Khaled. Like I think it's just a principle that I think works.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever been actually to Africa?
Nope. No, we actually had planned on going this year, but you know, coronavirus is not the best. So that's one of our goals next year is to do direct trade with farmers in Ethiopia or in another, you know, black country and go over there and meet people. And we got, bro, the crazy part is we got the tickets. Like we've had mentors and other larger companies be like, yo, you can come with us. Just let us know. We'll take you with you. We'll take you with us. So that's not the issue. Like it's not a cost issue. It's just like I don't know when I would feel comfortable being on a plane for 3 days or 2 days or 16 hours with the same people breathing the same air and then being around hundreds and thousands of strangers. Like it's a weird world.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because yeah, I saw some commercial. I think it was about tea. You might have seen it. They have like they're like within this commercial, it's like some woman, she's about to pop the little tea thing inside. It looks like a Keurig, and she's like, they were saying by the time we finish this, she finishes her coffee, we'll explain to you everything about the things like green tea or something like that. But they start showing like some guy that's in South America and showing like his family and stuff like that, and I'm just like, that was a genius commercial because
Yeah, bro.
that guy might be an actor, his wife might be an actor,
They
wife,
might be in Colorado. They might be in Colorado. Like you don't know where they're actually at, but
but
you have an emotional connection to that.
exactly, they made it seem like, you know, we get our beans from this guy we're showing in this commercial, and he's got a wife, he's got kids, they love their life, and they're just living it and just having fun. He's
If
drinking.
you buy this product, you're gonna make sure their life stays happy.
You're supporting them directly. It's like,
Yep.
that's not real.
All I gotta do is drink coffee and I can change somebody's life. Oh my gosh, I was gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, that's real, bro. And honestly, a lot of that is cap. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. Like a lot of those folks is capping. And that's why like the thing that makes a difference, and I've learned this from mentors, is like buying at scale. But this is not the point of this podcast. But like I say all that to say the marketing though, they didn't market like, hey man, we made $1 billion in profit this year. And I got a $500,000 bonus. as a CEO, buy my coffee. Like that's not what they did. They said like, look at this poor guy. Now he's not poor because you drink our coffee. So keep drinking it. You're gonna keep people from being poor and change their life. Like that's what they did because it's an emotional connection. You feel like you're doing something good. And at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel like they're doing something good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I figured that'd be really great for you if you could go to Africa, meet those people and learn about it, and it just adds a story that you.
Of course, yeah.
But
Yeah, for us, Instagram has kind of been the intermediate of like a lot of people that we've met from all over the world who either sell their family's coffee or they sell coffee from another group of Black people. Like, right, it's just been able to talk to them on IG and hear kind of firsthand. Like even tomorrow, we're going live with a guy from Burundi who lives in Toronto, who like sells coffee from his community members. And like it's just like stuff like that's super easy with the internet. So even though we can't travel right now, and I definitely couldn't afford, I suppose I could, but I just wouldn't do a plane ticket. Like, but we have people who will take us with them, you know what I mean, when they go, which is dope. And honestly, that's good marketing for them. Because then they can run the same ad that coffee ad ran, but like they're about, look at us helping this poor Black guy from Memphis. We're helping him start his business and provide for his community. Yeah. If you buy our coffee, we'll take more Black guys on trips. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the business side of me. But like all of this kind of is pimping. Like it's kind of pimping. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, so shout out to Memphis in like the early 2000s in the pimping era. But like it also is the right thing to do, and for me, I think it's up to each person to decide why they're doing it, if it's really genuine or if it's just for money. I personally feel like people can tell. I think people can tell when you're incongruent. I think people can tell when. That's why, dude. This is why people do not rock with what's my guy's name? Knowledge? Nah. What's his name? Logic. This is why people don't rock with Logic. Because he's incongruent, bro. It's like, dude, stop it. You're doing too much. Peace and positivity and love. And everybody who's like, they're like, no, bro. That's why he gets bullied. Like, it's like, I never seen a rapper get bullied, bro. That's crazy. I'm like, isn't like part of your job to diss people and insult people? Like, how you getting bullied by little kids on the internet, bro? Like, to quit. Anyway, I'm no shade on him. Logic is cool, but I'm just saying, like, people can tell when you're incongruent. I don't know his heart. I don't have telepathy. I don't know like if he actually is, but it seems like something is not authentic. Yeah. Like people would rather listen to Kendrick talk about how he's going to kill somebody on the state course and then kill somebody and then walk up to the state house and say, yeah, I did that. Like people like, oh yeah, Kendrick. And he just said he's going to murder somebody and tell people that he did it because that's how much he doesn't care. Yeah. They would rather listen to that. They feel like something about that is more true and honest and virtuous than Logic saying peace, positivity, and love 5 million times on a song. Yeah. Like, people can just tell when you're not really doing what you say you do, you know?
I mean, I've heard people say that Logic's really corny, and I was like, man, he is.
But that's why people don't like him, is because, like, you can tell, like, if you listen to Logic, like, I actually like Mixtape Logic. One of the guys Dirty, the rapper whose mixtape I used to, whose computer, he loved Logic, like early Young Sinatra Logic. Like it was toward the end of college when we graduated. Yeah. So Logic. And I was like, oh, this is actually kind of dope. He's doing the triplet flows. Like, but he wasn't talking about peace, love, and positivity. He was just doing like throwback boom bap rap. Yeah. And we could mess with that. But that's cool. And then all of a sudden he turned into Black Spider-Man and like, Mr. like peace and positivity and love. And people was like, I don't think this is really who you are. Like, this is kind of corny, bro. You're saying good things because I think you think it's cool to say good things. Yeah. Which makes you corny.
Even in, have you heard the story that Jordan Lucas told about Logic?
Him stealing the song? Yeah.
Yeah, the suicide song. I was like, man,
yeah, bro.
That's believable.
It's like, yo, bro, like you seem incongruent. The things you're saying don't match the vibe you give off. And I think that if people can figure out a way to do that,
And when you are that way, as you're saying, congruent, like people, they literally will attach themselves to you. Like they feel comfortable with what you're trying to sell them.
And you know what made me learn congruency, bro? There's two things. I say three things. Number one was growing up in the hood, like around gang members and crime and so on and so forth, you very clearly had to either be real or fake.
Mm.
Either you are hard or you're not hard, or you're one of those dudes who people just don't want to try. But either way it goes, you got to be congruent. People can't be able to tell you might be shaky because it's you just don't want to do that, right? And so I think that taught me one. So shout out to Black Haven, White Haven for that. And then I was not hard, and like I was big, I was taller than everybody else. Like I said, I was chubby, but like, you know, I could put on my mean face, but like I wasn't affiliated in any gangs. I was just generally cool, but I'm also bigger than you. So like people would be like, they were like, hey, that's that big dude who cool. Yeah. And it worked. You know what I mean? But I think whatever you're gonna do, like you got to be congruent. So then I went to college, and college made me be congruent because I was like, I literally knew all the Black people at this, like, you know, PWI. So like I was like, I was super out of my depth, not because I wasn't used to being around white people, but I was not used to being around any Black people.
Yeah.
Like whenever I would see white people growing up, it was like at a church thing, and then it was like, okay, now I'm back in my neighborhood. But now it's like, there are no Black people here. And all the white people you're meeting have never had a Black friend. Like I was like, yo, I'm your first. Like I remember my roommate, he was like, you're my first Black friend. I was like, bruh. He was from Tacoma. Actually, bruh. Actually was in his wedding, so that's one of my homies now. And you know, like my wife and I went out to Tacoma for our honeymoon. So like he's cool people, but it was weird being somebody's first Black friend. So you have to learn some congruency. Like you have to know who you are because you have to explain it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's this? Why you say that? Why is this? What do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. And so then I say lastly was just teaching in the hood, because leaving college, I had kind of gained this like academic perspective. I was used to explaining racism all the time and activism. And like, you know, you come into, you know, an urban classroom or a hood classroom, you talking about, all right, students, today we're going to learn about W.E.B. Du Bois, brother. And we're going to learn about double consciousness, my brother, because you have to understand the wokeness of your situation is past their instigation. And so therefore, and they're like, we don't care. We want to turn up. Like that's, bro, they don't whip Nene. Like that was all that was happening. And we don't care, bro. So you have to be congruent enough to actually, people have to be able to tell you care from moment one all the way through. And I think my students pushed a lot of, especially, bro, like teaching in Fraser, teaching in Orange Mound, like I'll forever be indebted to those students because they like they like beat the fake out of me, bro. Like any fake that was left after growing up in the hood and then going to this PWI, like they beat it out of me, bro. Because if you not real, it don't matter how much you yell and scream, they just gonna laugh in your face, bro.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care. So I think those experiences for me taught me how to be congruent and just be unabashedly myself, but also not so into myself that I can't connect to other people and I can't defend myself or my statements or my beliefs. But I'm also not going to change who I am in order to make you agree with me, you know?
Absolutely.
So that came from just me going through a lot of spiritual, personal work in like difficult circumstances. So I think living life is good for artists too. Like if all you do is live in the studio and you don't know how to connect with people, you know, and how to have authentic relationships, then you're not going to be able to sell products. Like what makes Gary Vee such a good salesman at the end of the day is when you meet him, you feel like you're the most important person to him. And you feel like he's going to give you the most amazing piece of advice for free.
Yeah.
You're hanging on every word. He knows how to connect with people. So of course that translates to his online marketing.
Yeah.
To his business interactions.
Yeah, I had a guy, he was trying to buy beats from me, and we actually scheduled his name Met Montrell. He was asking, you know, how much do you charge for beats? And I didn't give him a price because I was like, dude, I really don't care about the money. Like I'd rather, you know, build a relationship with you. And so we can talk about the money later. You know, I might do, you know, the first 40 beats for free, and then we're going to blow up, and I don't care about the money after that because, you know.
I was just talking about that.
So, you know, we're actually going to meet up, tomorrow night. And I was just like, yeah, like the first thing I did after the podcast we did together is I just started going over like my past history of work with music, because I want him to understand like what I've been through, you know, all the music I've done. And then I started trying to learn, you know, what he wants in his beats and what he wants in his music, because I want a type of like an aura, you know, this type of energy that we can feed off of. because that's what he was gaining. Like he was like, yeah, I don't want to just buy a beat off BeatStars or find somebody who makes beats. I want to.
Bro, you don't want to do that anyway, bro. Once you pass like 5,000 streams, like you trying to track that producer down and like, hey man, can we renegotiate our deal? And they trying to bust your head for it now, and you gotta drop the song, or like you get a sync deal, a licensing deal, and you can't get in contact with that producer because they got a million followers and they don't really care about people who use it. Nope, nope.
Yeah, that's something I'm hoping to learn in the future is how a lot of people do business. Everybody's different. Everybody has different ways of how they want to do business. So that's something I really want to. I was glad you shared your stories and just working with different artists
Yeah,
and my podcast and stuff like that. It's going to be awesome just hearing how people do business and how you feel like this is how things go.
yep. That's real, man.
So, what is out of all the things that you've been doing? You've done basically you're running your whole business by yourself.
It was me and my wife, definitely. Me and my wife definitely run it. Like I couldn't do this without her. She does all our graphic design. She runs our whole kind of our blossoming HR department because I had to get it when we got like when we did I went from a $5,000. I went from a $2,000 a month to a $6,000 a month to a $60,000 a month. Like I was like I can't make all these shirts. Like we're getting thousands of shirt orders. Like I need help, So we quickly had to like hire family and friends and some of my mentees. And she's basically doing all our HR now. So like I couldn't do any of this without her. But between us and our family, like yeah, definitely we're doing it.
So, what is next? What haven't you done that you're thinking about doing?
Well, I think there are a couple things. One, I want to get paid. So we built this business, but we haven't paid ourselves yet. So we just built the business and tried to make it profitable. Um, so yeah, we actually just got our valuation today, which was really encouraging to see how much the company is worth now, which can help us get capital in the future. And I would say definitely if you're independent artist or you're building a store of some type of digital e-commerce, check out Clearbank. Once you get some capital in, you get a good year under your belt. Clearbank can be a good option for capital. It's pretty easy. Just apply online. So yeah, there's that. I would also say, so yeah, being able to pay myself and my wife is one big goal, definitely. And full-time jobs in our community. Like I think I'm kind of falling in love. It's like I keep falling into like these new creative endeavors. So, at first it was like screen printing or pressing or recording myself, then singing and listening to myself sing, and then, spoken word. And then I got into production, and then I got into like, obviously coffee, and now it's business and education. Like those, I just like being creative. And so for me, like I'm falling in love with a new creative process of being a boss, like being a CEO, not like in a Rick Ross type of way, but more so of like being able to give someone a job they like is kind of a cool thing, bro. Like being able to talk to somebody about what they want to do. What do you like? How can we give you money to do that? How can we make sure make your experience better? I'm kind of like getting addicted to that. So being able to build positions for people that like people can pay their bills off of and be happy is like kind of cool to me. So I'm into that. And then in the next like big business things, like we're probably our goal next year is to do a direct trade coffee. Long explanation, very short explanation of direct trade is what you saw in that commercial in real life, which is I go to you, farmer. I don't pay an importer. I don't pay an exporter. I don't pay a middleman. I just go to you. I pay for the coffee. I have my own boat. I'm going to throw all that coffee on the boat. I'm going to ride it back over to America, and that's the simple version of it. And then I'm going to sell it. And the farmer keeps all the money that he gets paid, and then you can sell the shirt and directly the coffee and say, hey man, this comes from this guy. So that's what we want to do for a Gucci Mane, which is our primary coffee right now. We've been working with different importers, and again, diaspora family, met some dope coffee people in Eritrea, which is they have an indigenous coffee culture. At one point they were part of Ethiopia, and their uncle's a coffee trader in Atlanta. So I've been driving up to Atlanta because honestly, like 30 bucks there, 30 bucks back in gas is way cheaper shipping than paying $300 to ship like 500 pounds of coffee. Like I can just throw it in the back of the car. So it's like, again, it's like selling dope, drive up, meet the plug, throw the work in the back of the car, drive back, so we've been doing that, but I want to, even that is kind of not direct, even though I'm working with African people and like building relationships. I'm not directly working with the farmer. So that's one of our goals for next year. We want to buy all the coffee up front for the whole year. And then also we're working on dreaming on like building this coffee importing company where we can start providing basically like starter kits for families who want to get into coffee and work with Black farmers. And so it would essentially give you access to, it's kind of like Tinder, but for Black coffee. So like people build profiles, they match with people, you swipe up or left or right. I got married in like 2014. Tinder wasn't a thing. So I don't know what direction people swipe, but you swipe in some direction. And then if that farmer or producer wants to do business with you, then they swipe up, you get a chance to basically do like a FaceTime call and talk to them. And we'll basically warehouse their products in America up front. And then, get it to you pretty expeditiously. So that's a whole millions of dollars endeavor, but I think I got an investor. I got a business partner who's interested in doing something like that. So that's kind of next for us, but I got to automate our business. And so that means like right now, me and my wife's hands are in everything. I would like for my family, my younger brother, my mother-in-law, the kid I'm mentoring, Omarion, my sister-in-law, those people to kind of basically run the business without me being here, so I can go start another business.
Yeah, they say the mark of a great leader is how his people do in his absence. So
yep,
that's something that you'll be able to, know how well you're doing based off of, how well everybody else can do after you've, hey, it's y'all now. So
yep.
Well, man, it's been amazing talking to you. So glad that we actually got on. Zoom was tripping, and
yeah, bro, we
Google
did it.
We
did it.
Yeah, we'll have to link up sometime. Do some music together. I can, make some beats for you. We can do some verses or whatever.
For sure, bro. I'm always down to cipher. You know what I mean?
You record at home?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've got my studio here that I've had. I had Fraser Boy come by.
Okay, Fraser Boy.
Yeah.
Bro, you sure you're not from Memphis? You know who Fraser Boy is?
Man, I just know music. I just there's a lot of people I don't know, but I'm learning a lot about I want Boo Mitchell to come on the podcast.
Okay,
I had no idea who the guy was. Until,
yeah.
Have you ever heard of Victor Sawyer in the Lucky Seven brass band?
Oh, I know, with the hair and the glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, I know him. Yep.
I had him on the podcast, and he started talking about gatekeepers in the music business and talking about Boo. I was like, okay, whoever. And then, and then I found out who Boo was, and I was like, oh. So, yeah.
It's real, man.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yo, last thing. If you're in Memphis, you should definitely check out the Talent Development Complex or Memphis, MME.
Okay.
But yeah, you should definitely check that out because it's a mentoring program. If you don't have access, if you make it through their program and become one of their emerging stars, talents, then like you get tons of like training on songwriting, production, music business from David Porter. That was really dope for me when it happened. And then you get permanent access if you become one of their emerging stars to like their like $7,000 microphone studio. Like, I honestly make better music on like my like Chaotica eyeball at the crib. Like our most streamed song I recorded at the homie's house. He made the beat, my homie HD. He produced so much. Shout out to HD. That's the homie for life, man. The most amazing producer in the city. He's crazy.
What Mike?
Bro, I think it was like I was holding it in my hand, bro. Like I was holding it in my hand. It was the song Black Like Me. I was holding it in my hand. We didn't have a pop filter. We were just in his room. His room was kind of noise treated, but it was like we were just in there, and I just did the song. I freestyle out my music, so I don't write anything. I was like, bro, I was just like, I just did it, and it just hit 90,000 streams the other day. And it's like people connect to it. So like I feel like the emotion behind the music is probably 70%, 80% of the music, Versus, I mean, obviously it has to sound good, and I have an amazing engineer. Shout out to Conscious. He can make anything sound dope. But like, I've sent him some trash recordings. Like I sent him the other song that's it's at 89,000 streams. It's called Sunkissed. It's the first song that I've co-produced that like has done that well. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I recorded that in here when quarantine started. My kids were running around. Like I didn't have an eyeball. I just had a mic, a pop. I don't even know if I had a pop filter. I was just recording, bro. I was just making art, and like I think people connect to and then if you have a good engineer can make all the difference also. So shout out to engineers. But yeah, bro, I think people connect to the human element. Obviously it sounds like boo-boo.
Yeah.
That's a problem. But like, I just love the creative process. Yeah. So I think I would encourage people like check out not TCE, the Talent Development Complex. It's a great opportunity, especially if you're in Memphis. They're focusing on Memphis artists. We met like Chris Tucker, and it was dope, bro.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to link up and do some stuff.
Yeah, bro.
Well, all right, man. Yeah, it's been great talking to you.
You too, yo.
All righty. Well, thanks for everybody tuning in, and I guess we'll see you next time.
Peace, yo.